Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Someone will be held accountable for the serious security breach at Grantley Adams International Airport recently. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Monday, 6th December 2021. Details when we return.
Conveniently located in the Grand Anne Shopping Centre, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Grandans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Welcome back. A somewhat senior citizen left Grantley Adams International Airport in Barbados with a fully loaded gun and landed at Miami International Airport, prompting Barbados' Prime Minister Mia Mottley to adamantly promise that someone will be held accountable, as this has serious ramifications for serious sanctions by the U.S. authorities. More in this Barbados Today news item.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security, the U.S. Embassy in Bridgetown, and the National Security Council are all conducting investigations into an alleged major security breach at the Grantley Adams International Airport. The controversy follows the arrest of American Airlines passenger Cameron Hines, who was found with a revolver and 5 rounds of ammunition at the Miami International Airport after arriving in the U.S. aboard AA Flight 1089 from Barbados. The incident has triggered a chain of developments that is placing the country under careful scrutiny. At a press conference on Friday morning, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, who chairs the National Security Council, declared that someone will be held accountable.
I learned about it yesterday morning, and I have requested urgently a report, which I expect to receive very, very soon. But as I said before, somebody or bodies will be held accountable. This notion that people can do things that are in breach of the law or in breach of acceptable standards and get away with impunity is not going to stand, and the consequences for the country are grave and great. So let us be very clear that those breaches will be dealt with.
In other news, out of Barbados, that country is set to build a transatlantic slave museum, which would include a memorial museum and research institute.
Prime Minister Mia Mottley made the announcement today at a press conference at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre. The project is expected to be completed by 2025.
We have a responsibility as a nation to help the world understand how it can recover from that greatest crime against humanity. And we have that responsibility because it was here that the modern institution of racism was perfected in the Americas. It is not something of which we are proud, but it is part of our history. And the lessons we learn as human beings is that even those things that don't make us proud cannot be erased, for they are collectively taken to become the sum total of our DNA and the sum total of who we are.
The government's vaccine mandates in Antigua and Barbuda have been credited for possibly saving the lives of some individuals living with HIV and AIDS. The revelation came from HIV/AIDS Clinical Care Coordinator Dr. Maria Pereira during an interview with Kim Emmanuel Baird of ABS News.
Who would have thought A vaccine mandate would prevent a person from developing diabetes or hypertension. Well, according to Clinical Care Coordinator for HIV and AIDS, the vaccine mandate has encouraged patients to return to clinic care only to discover they need immediate treatment.
We not only assess their HIV status, but we also look at their cholesterol, their sugar, their blood pressure. And in some instances, we have found where some persons, they have become borderline diabetic, their pressure has increased, their cholesterol has increased. So in a way, the government has saved their life, because instead of becoming diabetic in a few years' time or fully blown hypertensive, we can start treatment now.
Dr. Pereira says some clients need to have one-on-one sessions, while other patients' jobs hinder them from getting medication and care, so their services had to be tailored.
And we were able to give our patients the medications as they requested. Another area that we found is that some persons became more isolated, they felt more lonely, and then they may have developed symptoms of depression and sadness and hopelessness. So in these cases, we had to really have a strong team.
Meanwhile, over the past 40 years, Dr. Pereira explains she has also noticed a significant decrease in stigma and discrimination against those living with HIV and AIDS. They receive needed support from their family and friends, and the public is more empathetic.
Back in the 80s, when HIV and AIDS came on the scene, people didn't have a lot of knowledge, didn't have a lot of education. So persons who were afflicted were treated badly. They may have been put out of their families. They had to really have a hard time. But these days, I've seen a distinct elimination or reduction in stigma and discrimination.
This, Dr. Pereira says, makes her job more rewarding. For ABS News, this is Kim Emmanuel Beard.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Sex offender registry in the Bahamas not expected to be made available online. More in this Eyewitness News report.
The public should not expect to see a local sex offender registry online. This, as National Security Minister Wayne Munroe says, it has caused issues in other countries with offenders being harassed.
It does not work like that. And the experience in other countries have been that list disappears very quickly when that happens. People get removed at light speed as they go to judges and say, my name, pictures on this list. People have been harassing me daily. And the judge says, good, your name is removed then.
Instead, Minister Munroe says people will be notified on a need-to-know basis.
The law requires me to notify persons who, in my judgment, should be notified. So, for instance, I've received the representation that I should notify every school that a sexual offender is going to live next to. Whether you will see their pictures on the community announcement will be driven by the nature of their offense and whether that is proportionate and appropriate.
There are reportedly 70 convicted sexual offenders in prison, with up to 3 of them expected to be released in January. Munroe says he had a meeting as early as Friday with the Crisis Center to provide guidance on how the public should be notified.
For instance, I've heard, we need to know so we don't hire a sexual offender, right? That sounds like a reasonable request, right? Unless you hire people without a criminal record, once you produce your criminal record would show your conviction for a sexual offense. So that is not a legitimate purpose for the list. A legitimate purpose for the list is that you have a predatory sexual offender who's living next door to you, who preys on young children. You should be told if you have young children.
He did not indicate when notifications will commence, but invites members of the public to submit their suggestions as to who should be alerted. The launch of a sexual offenders registry will follow a public education campaign on its accompanying restrictions. That education campaign will include explaining under what grounds a judge can remove an offender from the list.
The one thing that is very clear, if this register has the experience that some have had in other countries, where it becomes a tool of retaliation, people will be removed from the register very quickly, because that is a reason to be removed from the registry if you experience retaliatory violence based on it.
A sexual offender registry does exist, as the Act for the Register was passed under the former administration and brought into force on July 27th of 2019. Matthew Moxie, Eyewitness News.
St. Lucia's House Speaker Claudius Francis gave Micoud South MP and Leader of the Opposition Alan Chasteny until November 30th to submit in writing his reasons for absenting himself from the 3 consecutive lower house meetings. Chasteny's failure to comply, according to Speaker Francis, will cost him 3 months' pay. The United Workers' Party maintains its political leader did nothing wrong. More details in this DBS News World report with Riani Isidore.
It is the Speaker who failed to do his part to guide his member. It is the Speaker who acted inconsistently.
House Speaker Claudius Francis has come under United Workers' Party fire for docking the salary of Micoud South MP and Leader of the Opposition Alan Chasteny for not providing adequate reasons for skipping consecutive lower house meetings between August 1st and November 16th. Although the Micoud South MP provided advanced notice of his absence, the Speaker was expressly unsatisfied and took the November 16th House sitting to make an unprecedented ruling to withhold Mr. Chasteny's parliamentary emoluments up to the date of his formal swearing-in. The historic ruling has provoked dissent from the UWP and applause from one former Labour Party spokesman.
Never before has a St. Lucian parliamentarian had their salary docked for poor attendance. Never before has a sitting parliamentarian failed to show up for work for more than 100 consecutive days. It was you, Alan Chasteny, who famously said you would run the country like a business. You even equated the Prime Minister's duties to that of a chief executive officer, and its citizens you likened to shareholders of a corporation. Well, considering your attendance record and failure to report to work, the Chief Executive Officer of the House of Assembly rightfully withheld your salary. You don't work, you don't get paid.
Approval and disapproval of Speaker Francis's order has been split among partisan lines. Immediate past President of the Senate, Janine Girodi McIntyre, in a November 26 statement, chided Speaker Francis for not having the common, quote, decency, end quote, to alert the Micoud South MP of his transgressions against the standing orders.
Although there was ample time and opportunity, not on the first occasion, nor the second, nor the third, did the Speaker put Mr. Chasteny on notice that his excuses were unsatisfactory or that they did not meet the standard to obtain due leave of absence. Not once did the Speaker enlighten Mr. Chasteny. Even common decency and respect called for an answer.
Former Labour Party spokesman Winston Springer Sr. has hit back at the former Senate President.
Ms. Girodi McIntyre, in your pathetic attempt at defending Alan Chasteny on the salary issue, what you and others like you refuse to understand is that July 26th, Liberation Day, St. Lucians decided to embark on an unbullshittified life away from you and the man who humiliated them.
House Speaker Claudius Francis gave the Micoud South MP until November 30th to submit in writing his reasons for absenting himself from 3 consecutive lower house meetings. Janine Girodi McIntyre, when asked for comment on whether the Micoud South MP made any subsequent submissions to the Speaker's office, explained that she was not aware. Rihanna Isidore, NBC Prime.
Conveniently located in the Grandand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going food fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Granans will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep.
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.